All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm super excited today because our guest today has been one of my coaches for about 3 or 4 years now. I've been in her group for so long
Mhm.
that it costs double to be in her group now. It's just such a great group. I would never get out of it. And it's called Light Beamers. And April has taught me how to tell stories and how to not be fearful of putting my story as a woman out into the world. And so, as realtors, this really gets our clients to get to know us better. So, her whole talk today is going to be on branding using storytelling. So, April Pertuis, thank you so much for being a guest today, and thank you for everything. You've literally changed my life through helping me put my story out there. So, let's help these other amazing ladies do the same.
Yes, thank you, Dawn. And I just was literally pulling up one of the books that you guys will recognize. That's Dawn loading right there. If y'all don't have a copy of the book that she wrote a piece of her story in, this is one of our books at Lightbeamers. We did some collaborative books, and Dawn was in one of them and really bravely shared her story, which is exactly why it's called Step Into Your Brave. But I'm really happy to do this for all of you, and specifically because I do know Dawn so well, and we've been able to work together over the last few years, as she said, and we've done a lot of really cool stuff to help her really step out. And I'm sure you all see the way she's out there sharing her story in big ways now. And she wasn't doing that a few years ago. And so, what we're going to talk about today is hopefully going to be really helpful for all of you to think more about how can you do the same. Now, some of you may be doing some of this already, and that's great. But there's always, another growth edge you can step into depending on where you are on your storytelling journey. I would love to know that when I say that, where are you on your storytelling journey? Before we completely dive into my prepared presentation that I have for you, I'd love to just kind of poll the audience with the ones that are here live. I know we'll have some people that watch on the replay, but for those of you that are here, live, just open up the chat, if you will. And then if you would say you're like at ground zero with storytelling, you're not really using personal storytelling in your marketing of your real estate business, just put a 0 or a 1. Like if you're just, kind of not really doing it. If you would say you're kind of doing it, sometimes you think you have moments where you're telling some really great stories, and then you kind of fall back into the trap of just, focusing on listings and marketing, then maybe you're more like a 5. If you're doing big things like speaking and sharing your story on stages, writing books, doing big things like that, you're more like a 9, 10. So I would love to know kind of where this particular group kind of lands. We have a lot that are kind of middle of the road. So you think you've got some things working for you, have some room for growth, I would say. A couple of zeros. So a couple of people that really aren't incorporating any kind of storytelling into the way that you communicate with your people, your potential clients, your audience, all of that. So super brand new to real estate also. Yeah, that may be a reason why you would classify yourself as a 0 or a 1, but you're really great on social media. Man, that's a huge, huge win already in your category, though. If you already really love social media, it's a great way to use a platform that you're great at and just really shift the way you use it a little bit more. So we're going to talk a lot about that today, and hopefully get you thinking more about your story. And one of the things that I've been talking to a lot of clients and groups like this with this year is how can you be put storytelling at the front of all your marketing? I like to say, let's don't focus on marketing our business. Let's focus on storytelling. So if you could just replace when you catch yourself talking about marketing, which of course we all have to do as business owners, as independent realtors, right? As you're out there marketing your business, I would like to invite you today to replace the word marketing with storytelling. So instead of how are you marketing your business, how are you storytelling your business? All right. That could really shift a lot of ways that you think about marketing. And I know, I don't know, like raise your hand if you're like me. When you think about marketing and you pay attention to all the stuff that is out there in terms of how we could be marketing our business, I mean, it is overwhelming. There are so many different things that we could be doing, right? And when I got online and started building my business and I had to learn about how to market my business, it was a lot of technical things that I didn't know how to do. Yeah, like I still don't know how to do Facebook ads. Um, I, have learned how to build funnels, but I didn't understand that in the beginning. And so while I was kind of figuring some of those things out, I was like, man, I don't know. I'm going to try and learn some of those technical things that are necessary in today's digital age, but I think for right now, I'm just going to focus on some storytelling. Now, I have a background in storytelling, so it was easier for me, but I can teach you storytelling, right? And storytelling's so much easier than figuring out funnels and Facebook ads and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, storytelling was really the thing that helped me grow and continues to be kind of the backbone of my business. And it's a lot of what I've taught Dawn how to do, and she's really incorporated so much of that. So, okay, and I'm going to make sure I can share my screen. Yes, I can. Let me get my slides pulled up and we will jump in. And we have there'll be a couple of interactive exercises with this as well. So just stick with me here. Let me get my screen, my slides pulled up full screen so you guys can see them, and then I'll share. Here we go. So we're going to talk more about, that's not what you're seeing. I shared the wrong screen. Let's try that again. Let's try this one. There we go. You guys see my slides? All right. So how to brand yourself more. I know Dawn's been talking a lot about branding and, how to position yourself uniquely as your own personal brand, even though you are all is everyone here a part of Epic? I know Power Girls reaches across other real estate agencies. Is
Several
that
different brokerages here.
all different brokerages? That's right.
Yeah.
So it's not just Epic. So yeah, so you're all working inside other brands, Epic or whatever else it is, Keller Williams, Remax, whatever, so but how do you brand yourself inside, your real estate life? So that's a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today and really specifically how to use storytelling to do that. So, and one thing we want to do is stand out among a really busy crowd. And, I know that with real estate agents, you're all kind of doing the same thing, right? You obviously don't have the exact same clients, but you're all kind of doing the same thing. So, how is one, client going to choose one realtor over another? Well, if you're all offering the same kind of services, this is really where storytelling is really going to shine for you. So let's talk about storytelling as it pertains to business. This is one of the things that a quote I love from Gary Vee. Storytelling is by far the most underrated skill when it comes to business, and I tend to agree. I guess it's good for me because it provides like longevity I've got like kind of job security because I'm going to be teaching this. I've taught this for a long time and I plan on teaching it for a long time. And a lot of people need to know how to do it. But the other good news for all of you is that it's actually pretty easy. Storytelling is really pretty simple. It's not a complicated thing. It'll be challenging because it will require you to do more digging for your personal, stories, and that can feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is different from difficult, right? Uncomfortable, yeah, might push you outside your comfort zone, but that's always a good thing. But really, when we talk about the semantics of how to do this, it's actually really easy. And I think you'll see that as we get through today. So just Dawn mentioned my brand, my company, Light Beamers. I've had this business for 10 years, but I've actually been in the world of storytelling for more than 30 years. I come from a background of being a journalist and television producer, now a storytelling and visibility expert because I worked in the media. I know a lot about getting you visibility, how to really use the modern day tools and technology that we have readily available to amplify your visibility. Get out there so more people can find out about you and you can be top of mind in your industry. I am a three-time best-selling author. One of our books that Dawn was in, all of those books that were part of our collaborative book series. I'm a women's empowerment thought leader and speaker, podcaster, community founder. Lightbeamers Community is our community. That is a free Facebook group on Facebook, which I'll link it up for you guys later. So if you want to join our free Facebook, I'd love to have you guys in there. So let's just dive in and start with, why do most realtors blend in? A lot of realtors kind of, I think it's easy to kind of fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I'm just another agent, I'm just another real estate agent in my town, or with this particular brokerage. And that can be very problematic because you're not really looking for your unique value proposition. You're not really looking to how do you separate yourself from others. And so remember that your potential clients that are out there, both sellers, investors, buyers, they're not really going to, I mean, the brokerage itself, while it does have some name recognition in the marketplace, that's not really how they make their purchasing decisions, right? They are going to remember you when you give them something to remember. Okay. So that's where storytelling is really going to be your friend, because it's going to be a way for you to stand out, just even inside your own brokerage, but also just in the sea of the real estate industry as a whole. And so, some people might say, oh, the real estate industry is really crowded. Yeah, there's a lot of real estate agents anywhere you go. But the question is, how are you going to stand out in that field? And the way that I will tell you to do that is through story, because it's your unique story. The realtor, even all you realtors that are on this call, each one of you is very unique and different, right? And so you're not all the same at all. We have our own fingerprint, in our hands, just like we have our own fingerprint as we go out into the world and how we show up and the things that we talk about, the things that we share. All of those things are very, very unique to us. Here's a really important statistic, and I'm not a super heavy statistic person, so this is the only one I'm going to give you today. But it's pretty telling, right? 92% of consumers want brands that tell authentic stories. 92% of consumers. And a lot of times that's how they're making their decision, because the marketplace is crowded in every industry, not just real estate, right? I mean, you can open up a phone book. Do we have phone books anymore? But, like Google, a plumber in your town, and there's going to be a lot of plumbers. But how's a plumber going to stand out? How is a restaurant that sells, an Italian restaurant that's the same as, they all sell spaghetti, right? How do they stand out? And so a lot of the ways that really successful brands, small personal brands, stand out is through storytelling. So, what is a personal branding, and how do you do this beyond your brokerage? A personal brand is really how you are establishing your reputation, as well as how you're building an emotional connection to the people that may be following you or are connected to you or soon to discover you. Okay. That emotional connection is really important. How are you going to create an emotional connection with your audience if all you're doing is talking about listings and you're talking about square footage and price and you know land and acreage? I mean, it's not something to get very emotionally connected to. But if you start telling stories, that is a way that an audience is going to connect more with what you're sharing. And especially the more you even tell your own personal stories and the stories of your clients. Um, so building that personal brand, it's going to be a reflection of how people feel about you before they even meet you. And here's the good news about like stuff like social media today. We have a real golden opportunity. I know not everyone feels like social media is a golden opportunity, because it can be a drag and it can be like, hard to like, if you scroll a bunch of other people's stuff. But I always say, look, if a social media is dragging you down, you're probably using it wrong, right? Let's use social media in a positive, powerful way, and you can use it to your advantage by by leveraging it for your storytelling, which is going to amplify your business more. So when we start to develop this platform, the social media platform, you start to do things like better storytelling on social media, you're going to start developing what is called a para-social relationship with your audience, meaning some people who follow you may not have ever met you in person. Maybe they find out about you through a friend who you were their real estate agent and they started following you because like, oh, I want to follow what she's doing because, hey, I might be needing a realtor soon. You might get mentioned in local Facebook groups. I see that all the time where I live. Real estate agents are always being referred out because someone's moving to town and they're like, "Hey, we're looking for a real estate agent." And all the people are like, "Oh, they're recommending their favorite person." So people start following you and you don't even know you. You just like got recommended, heard about your name. Maybe they met you once, like a networking thing. But they're going to start seeing you and developing a relationship with you by how you show up and the emotional connection they're going to develop is through storytelling, right? So that's how they may feel like they have a bond with you and a connection with you, and you don't even know they're paying attention. And so never forget that the audience can sometimes be quite silent and almost invisible, but they are there and they're watching and they are paying attention. So you're not just a realtor, right? You're not just a realtor. You think of yourself like you are a guide in people's like largest investment and biggest decisions that they typically will make in their lifetime. I mean, there is nothing quite like buying a home. And you are a guide to them. I know my own realtor. I mean, she's like one of my dearest friends, and uh, I just can't even imagine, going through that process without feeling like she had my back. And so you are a guide to someone's life's biggest transactions. You're not just a realtor. So I want you to think for just a second, and this cannot be you, okay? I want you to do an exercise. And I want you to think of just a top realtor, two or three realtors in your immediate area, in your market, wherever you live. And maybe it's somebody you know, but maybe it's just somebody that you see their stuff all the time. And I want you to jot down just a few things about what makes them stand out. So, someone that you see kind of crushing it, right? With their branding, with their storytelling, with their visibility, with their authenticity, with their consistency. I want you to make a note of who that person is and what stands out to you about that realtor. All right, I'm going to actually pause here for a second while and give you a minute to think about that because then I want you to open the chat and tell me, you don't have to say the name of who it is, but I want you to just tell me a few things that stand out about the person that you came to mind. What makes them stand out to you as a really great realtor? Experienced, knowledgeable, fun. Ooh, fun's an interesting one. I wonder how they're exuding fun to you. Is that maybe through some storytelling? Um, you have Facebook down. Does that mean you don't have the scroll? They show up often, so they're consistent. I know more about them than just real estate expertise. Yes. So you might know if they're like what if they have a family or like what they like to do in their spare time. You might know where they went on vacation recently. Like we know things about people, right? Um, Consistency creates local events for business owners, so they're very involved in their community. I love that. Present at community gatherings, consistent, lots of open houses, lots of listings. Seems to be constantly listing, selling, closing. Like he's active, shows up often, has a new baby girl. He taught his daughter, he taught his daughter how to ride her bike. Okay, these are great examples of storytelling that you were witnessing in your own market. And you were noticing that these are the people. This was the first person that came to mind when I asked you, right? And it's not because they're a top producer. Now, they might be a top producer, but none of you has said top producer. None of you have said like industry lingo like that, right? you've all given some examples of through powerful, powerful storytelling. So, yeah, really, really telling, right? It's very telling. I have to get this where I can get my pictures out of the way. Am I on the right? Yeah, okay. So the power of storytelling, as I just said, people don't really connect with top producer or market leader or whatever, right? Or like insert some award that you've just been given, right? It's like that's not what people connect with. They connect, as we just proved, with real people, people who have daughters who are learning how to ride a bike, people who are, going on a vacation or are super fun to follow. These are real people with real stories and real transformations. So here's another quick fact for you. Storytelling and stories are 20 times more memorable than facts by themselves, right? So again, it's not about square footage, it's not about location, it's not about how many numbers of bedrooms or age of house or even price. It is really about the storytelling that compounds on top of all that. Yes, you're going to share your listings. I think there's a kind of a fun way that you could share even your own listings and think again, how can I remember, we're not going to say, how can I market this house? How can I storytelling this house? How can I do the storytelling for this house instead of how can I market this house? Again, a great exercise for you to replace that word marketing with storytelling. And I promise you, you will learn to share your listings in a much different way. Your story builds trust and creates loyalty before a client will ever give you a call. Most of the time, unless it's like through a referral, but even that referral, someone is building the trust for you, right? Because that referral comes from some trust that they're borrowing from their friend who knows you. But they are in today's day and age, most people, even when they get a referral, what they're going to do is they are going to check you out. They're going to Google you. They're going to go to the website, your website. They're going to go to your social media channels for sure. And they are going to scope you out just like you do. You do this too. We all do. And so remember that. And so if they can find content there that is showing your fun personality, showing you teaching your kid to ride a bike, showing you how you story tell your houses, you are going to make a much bigger impression and they are going to be much faster to call you versus the five other real estate agents that were also referred to them, right? So it really does start to make a difference. So let's talk about some stories that you could just start with today. Like if, especially for those of you that are just getting started, you were more of the ones, twos, and threes. Maybe those of you that are like a five and a six at the beginning when we started our chat, maybe you've done some of this, but maybe you haven't done all of it. So these are a few that we could just talk about today of some simple stories that you could start to share with your audience at large. Maybe if you have an email list, you can certainly use your social media. Some of you may have podcasts. Even just when you're out in your community, meeting people for coffee, maybe doing client meetings or potential client meetings, listing meetings, things like that. Don't just go straight for like, here's how we work and here's how we do it. Get to know these people and let them get to know you. So you could start with your why story. Why did you become a realtor? What personal experience drives your passion? Everyone has a different story around this, and everyone came and decided to be a realtor for their own personal reasons. I know Dawn's story. Like I've talked to Dawn so often about her story, and I know she has shared that story many, many, many times about why she became a realtor is because I remember like that $99, what was it, Dawn? Carlton Sheets commercial that you saw.
Carl
And
Sheets,
yeah,
yep.
see, I know it. I don't even know who Carlton Sheets is, but I remember Dawn telling the story so much because, she was a single mom and she had these two boys at the time and she was working all these extra jobs just to hope that she could pay the babysitter that night. And she saw all these other people like going to the restaurant at the bar that she worked at. How are they able to afford all these drinks and this big fancy meal? And she was trying to figure out, how do I get out of this scarcity lane that she'd been in so long because of being raised, with parents that just had their own problems, there was alcoholism in her family. There was a lot going on. And she was seeking for stability and a way to make an income that she could rely on. And when she saw that $99 get started in real estate through Carlton Sheets, that spoke to her. Like, so that's her vehicle. That was her why story. That was the path that she went down that made her want to become a realtor. And obviously the rest is history. But every single one of you, did I do a good job, Dawn, of recounting a lot of that?
I'm sitting here thinking, man, I need to tell that story more often because that was 24 years ago that I got my real estate license. And all of that happened, so long ago that I need, yeah, well, I need to tell it more. It's in the book and it's going to be on my stage talk, but it's a great story.
It's a great story. Okay, how many of you all knew that story about Dawn? Put a yes or no in the chat because like I don't see screen right now. I just see my screen. Um, no, no. Look, Lisa, okay. Amy said yes, and Mary says no. So, like, half the ladies here, Dawn, did not
Yeah.
know the story. Okay, that is
Mary,
telling. Mary Baggett did not know this story. What?
Right?
Crazy.
it's
Okay.
literally how my chapter in the book starts out. So you have to read the book I gave you, Mary.
No, Dawn, you have to
Jeez,
do
yeah,
more
sister, you know
storytelling.
that.
I do need to do more storytelling. You're absolutely right. And I have to say, like, a lot of the stuff I share in telling my story is really on Dawn.loading, more of branding me, no matter whether I'm selling real estate or I'm recruiting agents or building my empire, like whatever. But I need to figure out a way to tell that story more because I bet people would resonate with me much more if they knew that story like locally as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I'm wondering who else here, when's the last time you shared your why story with
How
people?
girls?
Even Power Girls or, your clients or your social media following? When's the last time you talked about why you became a realtor? Just
You're
raise your
asking
hand. I can see
everybody
y'all
else.
now. Who did it recently? Anybody raise their hand if you've done it recently or say yes in the comments. Jess is saying never. You've never told that story. I mean, any questions about why that would be powerful? Like any question about why that would not, like you shouldn't do that? Like I'm happy to talk through that. Or is it like self-explanatory? You think that's probably a pretty good idea? Yes, but not on social.
Tell
Just
this story really.
conversation. Well, conversation's good. That's a great start, but you could reach a lot more people when you share it publicly.
So Amy Garland just said, yes, I did recently, and for the first
For
time
the
in
first time.
Amy was on our panel in Florida that we just did in Destin. Mary and Amy were on stage and they did a 20-minute talk on why we love Power Girls. And it's about empowering women. So Amy got to get up there and she had the audience in tears. Like,
Yeah.
I think I've had several people say that were there, like, Amy's talk was the best talk of the
Yeah.
whole thing.
It
And it
had
was.
everybody in her story with her and part of
Yes.
it and saying, "Oh my gosh, I can see myself in Amy." And I think it was a big eye opener for Amy too, because the whole time before she's like, who's gonna resonate? I mean, who's gonna I've got it just a, whatever story. Nobody's gonna resonate with this. And I'm like, you wait. You wait. Right, Amy? And
Right.
it was huge.
Nothing about real estate, or I mean, it was real estate, but my numbers, sales, and nothing like that.
No, because
None of
that's
that.
not the stuff that resonates. That's what I'm saying. It's not about being top
Yeah.
producer. It's not about how many millions of dollars in real estate did you sell last year. It's not about how many agents are on your team. It's not about how many listings did you get sold last year. It's not about how many clients have you, it's like all those numbers, right? I mean, square footage of a house, none of it. What happened, I imagine, was there was an emotional connection, which is what I talked about earlier, remember? An emotional connection that people could see, as Mary said, they could see themselves in your story. Anyone that's ever been a single mom raising two boys or two kids, period, like Dawn's story, they could see themselves in that story. Like, I need stability. I need a way to be able to make my own money, but needed the flexibility because she couldn't do a 9 to 5 job being a single mom. There's not a single mom on this planet that, can handle a 9 to 5 job without a lot of help. And Dawn didn't have those people in her life. And so these are the stories that will connect, whether it is attracting your clients or maybe helping you build your real estate brokerage and if you want to recruit, like I know Dawn's a big recruiter. So, yeah. Okay. So the why story, right? Like everyone can not mark that one down and work on telling that to your audience. Make that a priority. That's a really great story to share. So we've got some other ones though. You could share client success stories, show transformation. Where was the client before? What was the challenge? This could be in this house, like selling the house, buying the house, and how did you help? I know that my real estate agent, and many of you all may know her. I don't know if Penny comes to these calls, but she's in Dawn's group.
Penny's
But
amazing.
Penny Pearboom is my realtor,
She's
and
amazing.
I bet that woman showed us, 50 houses before we finally bought, and it was, over a span of 3 years because we were really not in a rush to buy because we had a home. But we're like, yeah, I'm still looking for that a more permanent forever home. And Penny was so patient and she could tell definitely where were we before, the big challenge that we had, and how she was in the biggest way that she was so helpful to us is that she was patient. I can tell that story for Penny. She was so patient and she did not like, rush us along. And at every house that we ever saw, even though I am quite sure Penny was ready for me to buy a freaking house, right? Like, come on, get on with it, girl. I never felt that way with her. And at any time I would say, no, this one's not it. She'd go, okay, let's keep going. And she just did not give up. And I will tell you, I am the best house ever now, thanks to Penny. So you can tell these stories, let other people imagine what is it like to work with you. Talk about the challenges, the crazy stories that you've got with clients. And maybe you have a client that you've been working with for 3 years and you're not giving up, whatever it is, right? Tell those client success stories. They are so fun to share.
You
Um,
know, April, I want
yeah,
to I want to tell them really quick about a agent that I had a talk with the other day, and now how I'm starting to help other agents figure out their stories and then send them into your group. But um, she was an immigrant and she moved here like 7 years ago. And I'm not going to say her name, but we had a great talk and she's a brand new realtor and she hasn't had a single transaction, but she's done her own flips. Her and her husband do flips. And immediately in my head, like light bulb, I'm like, why are you not telling that story? Like, go video the flips that you're doing. Go write stories as to like pain points. People might not want to come to you for a flip, but they may, when they see your story and start hearing your struggles and start, they will resonate with what you're sharing and they will feel like they know you. And like I loved her after being on a call with her for 30 minutes. I was like, "Oh my gosh, tell your story about how you came here to do better and you've put in the work to do that." Like pull stories out of other spaces. Like when I wrote that book, you guys, April had me go back in my life and I'm never writing another book. I'm just going to say it was hard. But I had to go back into my childhood. So I kind of in my head mentally did these chapters. And this is a great exercise for all of you guys. And I do this exercise. Go back to like your every 10 years, your childhood, your teenage, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and figure out what stories you have in each one of those areas and just write them down. And you'll be able to pull little stories out of that and use that for your content.
yeah. I mean, and I love that story that you just gave, the illustration of the woman who just moved here. different country, doing those flips, and brand new at real estate, really, but she's got a lot of experience already, you know.
Like I've been
So
posting on social media and I don't get anything. I'm like, well, what are you posting? Pictures of houses and the same crap that we all post, but she's not putting herself in there at all. And
yeah.
that's what we need. We have to
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
another reminder. Like storytelling, like anybody can go to AI today or rip some stuff off the MLS, but until you infuse you into this, then none of this is really going to work. Like storytelling cannot work in the absence of you, right? So that's why we're calling it personal branding and personal storytelling. AI cannot tell your story for you. The MLS isn't going to tell your story for you. Even your own bio isn't going to tell stories for you, right? You're going to have to get in the game. It won't work otherwise. So here's another one you guys can take, your unique differentiator story. So again, all of you are realtors on this call. What makes you different? We just gave an example, right, of this woman that just came here from another country. She's doing these flips. That's different. That's her thing. That's her story. So, what makes you different? Think about that. You maybe do that as an exercise. Just sit down and say, what are all the things that are unique to me? And again, just different things that maybe you have your quirks, maybe you have your passions, maybe you have your own unique path. Whatever it is, just write down these ideas that come up when asked, thinking about what is my unique differentiator. Write those things down and then start to include them in storytelling when you're out there creating content for social media or communicating with your audience in some way. So I want to give you a simple framework because I mean we can talk about go tell stories all day long, and I can give you a lot of prompts. There's a lot more where those three came from, which I'm going to guide you at the end where you can get some more of my free resources. Um, but a lot of another question would be like, well, really how? Like there's a lot of things about storytelling that make people nervous. And one is like, well, I don't want to go on and on and on, and I don't want to tell a bunch of details. I don't want to bore my audience, or, I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time. Like I hear these things all the time. And this is where the uncomfortability is going to come into play. Like it's going to feel a little uncomfortable at first if you're not actively storytelling and infusing you into it, because it's going to feel like, and I'll come back to this slide. Just want to talk about this for 1 second. It's going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm making it all about me. And oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm an egomaniac. Or oh my gosh, like I just want to help people. I just want to help people. I don't want to make it about me. So here's something I always tell people about when they start going on this journey around storytelling. Your story really isn't even about you. Yes, it is your story, but that's not why you're telling it. You are telling your story for your audience. And again, Amy's example of being at the conference and telling more of her personal story on stage might have made Amy feel a little uncomfortable if you've never done that before. You said that was the first time, right, Amy? But look at the results that it got. All these people were talking about it. All these people were saying it was my favorite talk of the whole event. All these people were saying, I could see myself in her story. She shared the story for them, right? She wanted them to know, like, hey, if I can do this, you can too. Um, you're not alone. Like all of this is possible. So you have to understand there's a point to sharing your story, and you got to get into the head of like, I'm doing this to help. I am doing this to serve. I am doing this to make it about other people. But they need something to latch onto. And numbers and statistics and square footage is not going to be it, right? So we have to put ourselves in it. Might make you feel uncomfortable, but you need to do it anyway because it's not about you, it's about your audience. My tagline at Light Beamers is when you share your story, you shine a light. You are shining a light out for others. It's not about you, okay? So we're not making this about, any kind of egomaniac trip. It really is a point of being able to connect deeper with people, and that is super important. So how do we get to being able to tell a story efficiently and sufficiently, right? So here's a simple framework, and this is one that I'll give you as a free download too, but there is basically 3 parts to a great story. And there's kind of what I always call the before, which is more of like around the struggle. Again, just using Dawn's as an example. Her before, single mom, raising 2 boys, and having to work a whole bunch of jobs and feeling like, good Lord, there's got to be something better than this that offers better stability, something I can rely on and still allow me to take care of my kids. That was her struggle, right? The transformation, Carlton Sheets, $99. Oh my gosh, I can do this, right? And then she became a real estate agent and started making money and realized, wow, like this is a path for me. And obviously now the mission, the other side is why do you do what you do today? Which you could tap into that why story about why you became a realtor and how real estate has been a pathway for you now that you've gotten through that big transformation of becoming a realtor, whatever that looked like for you. So it's just 3 things: the struggle, the transformation, and really your mission and your message of what you want others to know. There's another realtor in our local town. I live in the same town as Dawn, by the way. So there's another realtor in town, and I can tell by the way that she puts herself out there, she is really going after that first time home buyer. She's a young mom herself, and I think she really relates to that first time home buyer of not thinking that they could get into a house, not thinking that they could qualify. And I mean, just following her, it's so obvious who she's for, you know? And that's her mission. I can tell. And so, you will start to be able to make that known the more you share stories, the more you talk about the things that you really care about. So that's a simple framework. Yes, Don.
So amazing. So you're talking about this. So I'm literally rebranding. I've been the loading group for so long, and I don't want to be just the loading group. So I'm rebranding my team and relaunching my real estate business too, because I'm doing all this, but I'm kind of missing the boat over here. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm April. This is only because of you and storytelling. I'm thinking, what can I do? What can my niche be that I could tell stories? So I'm doing an empty nesters page.
Love
So I'm going to work with empty nesters, and I'm going to be like, my husband and I are empty nesters, even though 2 of those little birds flew their way back home. And now we're really not empty nesters. They're still adults, so it still counts. But like that just gives me so many ideas to work with empty nesters, and I love it. And so figure whatever you're doing, like what can you do, like even just going around your city and doing a featured restaurant, or hey, this is a great
Mhm.
place to hang out on a Sunday afternoon. As empty nesters, we're always looking for something to do. I mean, the opportunities are endless when you start thinking of how to tell stories about things instead of just here's a picture of this coffee shop. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. It's again, we're not going to be marketing, we're going to be storytelling. Remember that, right? We're not marketing our real estate business, we're not marketing our listings, we are storytelling our way through it. So we kind of did this already because I didn't anticipate that, but I had it planned where we would talk about the inner, tell me your why. But I do want to give someone a chance to just kind of share briefly your why story. And let's just see if we can't do we see that struggle, the transformation, and then the why, the other side of like why you're doing what you're doing? Does anyone want to just give a stab at it and um, share with us? You can just unmute and kind of talk us through it. Should we hear from Amy since she did such a great job on the panel? Just thinking like kind of just quick sentences of just like what was the struggle, what was the transformation, and where are you now?
The struggle was I worked for my husband. He's a broker and he's our team leader. He's on the state boards. He's a national coach, yada, yada, yada. I am the back office lady and I didn't feel like I had a place other than back office stuff. Went to own my own insurance company because he and I thought that would be an additional pillar. And when I left, the real estate side. The touchy-feely side that I was contributing to, staying in touch with clients, started dwindling. So our sphere of influence, past client referrals started dropping off dramatically and impacting our real estate sales. Insurance was really hard because I didn't have a book of business. I was trying to build it, and he and I decided to sell the insurance book back to the company, and I came back to the real estate side after many hours and many long conversations. I finally found my worth. I finally saw physically the numbers, the data. I saw my worth, and I would have never seen that had I not left the real estate side in many, many hours of hard, long conversations. But I finally feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. So it was the journey.
Anyone else feel like they've been more like the behind the scenes kind of girl, or like, what do I really bring to the table? Like
Right.
he's the one that got, or she or he's the one that's the talker and can do all these things, has all the knowledge. I mean, that's really, really, really relatable.
I
So
wish I
that.
could feel like that.
Yeah, there's
Believe
an
it or
opposite of
not,
that too.
in
The
my
op
in where I am now, my man, I mean, he is the smartest person ever. And I moved to this market. He's from this market. So I felt shadowed by him. And people will go, "What? You're not shadowed by anybody." But I really,
Yeah.
I felt less than because he
Right.
had more knowledge and people would look to
Right.
him for that
Right.
market knowledge, right? And so I get where Amy comes from, and I didn't share that with Amy because I wanted her to have her own journey. But I found my own things that I had knowledge on. I found my
Mhm.
own way of contributing and finding that voice. And that voice is helping people and doing Power Girls. And so it may not just always be the market where I
Right.
am, but it's how to support that agent or those people within that market. So it's when you start really looking at it, you find it. You find that sometimes you may feel less than, but pivot and find where you're not, where you don't
Right.
feel that, and
Right.
lean into that. So
And
Yeah,
Lee
beautiful.
is terrible about checking in on people. He is not the relationship person. He's
Right.
terrible.
You found your sweet spot and realized, man, I had that sweet spot all along. And I love that you say you discovered your worth in that. So that is so good. So yeah, again, just kind of reiterating that why story, giving you an opportunity to kind of think through that framework. And you can do this to any story, right? Any story that you're going to tell, just kind of think in three simple steps, three simple things that you want to share with the audience. The before, the struggle, the transformation, when things changed and got better, and then the now. And really, what is the message that you're trying to say in the now part, right? Like the point of the story of sharing the story with someone else. So that's a really simple way to approach storytelling. So just to kind of recap, because I want to save some time for questions, why your story is so important to your business, okay? Is it humanizes your brand, it separates you. I don't really like the word competition, but I mean, like it just separates you from others and allows you to stand out on your own, allows people to connect with you on that emotional level that we just talked about. And that's just a perfect example of, Mary connected with Amy just over that same kind of connection, that same kind of feeling. Allows people to connect with you. It creates engagement. So again, they'll say to you or they'll comment back to something that really feels relatable to them. So it does increase that relatability for you. It builds that know, like, and trust factor that is so important. And the more consistent you are, especially with storytelling, it helps you stay top of mind. If you're not really active in promoting you and your business, it's very hard to stay top of mind. And so we have to have consistency. So we have the authenticity, we have the storytelling, and then the third piece really is consistency. Okay, so those are going to be the trifecta for making sure it works for you. So here's just some ideas. Again, just check in and see if you are doing any of these things. Maybe you can take a screenshot of this if you want. Social media, share a short video Share some stories. I know when I first met Dawn, that was like the first thing she did. She's like, okay, she did not like being on video, but like she was like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm in my stories. That was like the beginning. Now Dawn's on video all the time, but in the beginning, she didn't like being on video. So she would do the little 30-second stories that would disappear in 24 hours, and it was a baby step. But she was sharing some stories. She was starting to talk to her audience and starting to let people in and get to know her a little bit better. So share behind the scenes stories, client journeys. You can do stories in your videos in your stories. You can do regular videos. You can do reels. You can do all kinds of stuff today. Make it fun, right? Just stop taking yourself so seriously. Um, you could do this on your website. You could have probably a much better about me page or something along the lines, or a bio that is much more story driven. So check in on that and see if that needs some editing. Your email marketing, I'm sure if those of you that are doing email outreach to your clientele or to your database, what if you started storytelling and doing something like a weekly story of the week instead of just your listings? Because that's just boring. Don't be boring, right? And then even when you're out and about, this does not apply to just social media or just your digital landscape like email and website. This can also apply when you're out meeting people, having coffee chats, having listing appointments, going to networking events. Maybe you're doing some speaking in your local community or for your brokerage, right? Open up those conversations and those speaking engagements with great storytelling and allow people into your world a little bit more. It's really, really powerful. I already talked about this. 3 pillars of a standout brand: authenticity, storytelling, and consistency. This is what's going to be the trifecta to make all of this work. Okay. So here's a quick action plan. Again, just to start taking more steps in the right direction, I want you to identify a personal story. I love John's suggestion, thinking through your different decades of your life, and just post it this week. Put a story out there. Maybe it's your why story, since most of you have not done that, right? And Dawn needs to redo it again because there's a lot of people that didn't even know that was her story. Create a video. Put a video out there. People need to hear you and see you. They need to see you in action. So maybe you do a client story, a success story. Maybe you tell one of your personal stories, but do one of these on video. Start to mix up your content more. And then I'd love for you to audit your branding, basically your personal storytelling. When you go to your pages and your website and even your marketing materials, does it tell a story, or is it generic and just like every other realtor out there? Do you stand out? And if not, then we have some work to do. And it's okay if you find out you've got some work to do, because knowledge of just knowing where you are is a really important step, right? Like becoming aware, like, I don't really do so good with this, so maybe we need to do some work. You can come get into our community for one, and we have lots of free resources that we can share to get you going. So I want to know if any part of this was helpful, and have like a little mini challenge for you so we can start to engage with each other on social media just for fun, right? You can post something, maybe get in your stories, or maybe you took a screenshot today, or we can take a photo at the end. And if you want to post something out on your social media somewhere and tag me at Lightbeamers, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, I'm sorry, but I am not on TikTok. But those are my channels, and you could do that. Then I'm going to send you this really fun resource. And I actually just created this for you guys. I've never given this out before. I literally created it for this presentation for this particular group. And I want to give you a fun challenge. I personally built a 30-day branding action guide, personal branding, personal storytelling action guide that is kind of like a 30-day challenge if you want to read it that way. And it's very specific to the real estate industry. And I will give it to you once you tag me, and I can follow you back and I'll send it over to you. Okay. So that'll be a fun way to get you out on your stories or get you sharing something. You and I can engage. And then if you want to go on that 30-day journey, I won't call it a challenge, we'll call it a journey. It's really designed to help you. I've taken all the guesswork out of it for you, and every day I give you a quick little assignment. Go tell this story, go do that. And when you do those things, you're going to tag me at Light Beamers, and I'll be seeing all the stuff that you do. And when you're done, I want you to come back over and say, April, I did it. And I'm going to sit with you personally for an hour. You and I will book some time for an hour for free. None of that. This is all just for fun, for free. And I will literally audit some of those stories and I will give you any kind of tweaks and suggestions that I can. So I'll give you a full hour of time auditing what you did, really going through your channels, anything that you shared, and we will have some fun. But you got to do 30 days, okay? So here is where you can find me, Lightbeamers Community. That's my free resource group on Facebook. You can get there by going lightbeamerscommunity.com. My website is Lightbeamers. And again, follow me, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And of course, just reach out if you want some additional help. I've got lots of free resources on my website. I can give you, I can try to get you going in the right direction once I kind of know where you are and what you might be struggling with if you need more help with storytelling. But I do want to open it up, and I didn't save as much time. I can stay over if any of you all want to stay over. I meant to leave a little bit more time, but I do want to open it up for questions and anything that is coming up for you.
I just
This
want
was
to say thank you. What you just offered is amazing. You can see all these women's heads shaking. Yes. Who's going to take her up on this challenge? 30 days. 30
Yes.
days to really change the trajectory of what you're doing and how you're doing it. I can totally, yes, Renee.
yeah, and you know what, Mary, we should get that from April, and maybe we'll do something inside of our group, like a 30-day challenge where we could all help each other do
Do it.
that.
Or
Also,
just do it together in
yeah, just
conjunction
do it
with
together.
April. Let's just all do it, we'll
Right.
figure something out. April, Dawn, let's get
Yeah,
together
we
and
will.
figure
Yeah.
out what we can do. But everybody on here should take her up on that. That was such a gift.
Well, because
Of
you just said it though, Mary. Here's the thing. What I know, and Dawn knows this too, because we've been at this for a while. But if you do, the 30 days, your business is going to look different. And not just your business, your confidence, your clarity, the way you show up will be different. I mean, you're just kind of go, all right, I'm ready now. Like you literally gonna feel like that, because you're just gonna kind of say, screw this. I'm gonna like not worry about being perfect and having it all together. Because when you do something for 30 days, it changes everything. And right now, a lot of you are not storytelling focused. You already admitted that at the beginning of the call. So let's just get you storytelling focused. And I will say this, do it for 30 days and you can prove me wrong. Like if it didn't work, then great. I'll be like, okay, girl, then don't do that. Just go do the thing that you were doing before. Fine. But you're not going to be able to say that to me. You're just not. So, but I'm open to the challenge. You can try to prove me wrong if you want. But I
No,
do know that
challenge.
it will change the trajectory of the way you are doing business and the way you show up.
challenge accepted.
I love it. I love it.
Her challenges because they will change your life.
I do
And
challenge people a lot. I love
don't
challenges.
realize it. Like she has had me do things and I'm like, yeah, you're crazy. Like I'm not going to do that. And then I'll do it and then I'll look. I don't want to do it because it's fear sets in.
Like you didn't
And
want to do the videos, but you did the videos.
to not do it. But once I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did that. Like I'm in her speakeasy right now. She has several different things. She's giving you guys a little bitty taste of stuff, but I've done all of it. And the speakeasy, I'm about to get on a stage in her group and do a 20-minute talk and I'm scared to death. And every time we get a little deeper into my story and all that, I'm like, I got this. Like, this is so cool. But in the beginning, I was just like, I don't want to even do this. But for whatever reason, I'm doing it. And so I'm so grateful. Everything you're saying is absolutely true. And you guys, we find our power in these stories. So let's do it together. We'll keep an eye on the Power Girls group. Mary and I will talk and join
Yeah.
April's Beamers group. We'll see
I'd
you
love,
in there.
I'd love to add something. I know we're not there yet, but April,
I gotta go do happy hour. So bye, you
bye.
guys.
Thank you,
Um,
Dawn. We'll
so
connect. Yeah.
So she said to tag her, tag Power Girls as well, so we can track
Yeah. Tag.
who is doing this. So we're on Facebook and we're on Insta right now. So just Power Girls
That's perfect because that's
in
where you
real
can tag
estate,
me too.
and the
Yeah, at
same thing with
Lightbeamers.
Facebook. And that way we can track it. I can see, April can see, Dawn can see, Renee can see, Giselle. All of us can see each other and kind of cheer each other on, like, you got this, kid, you got it, let's go, sis. Right? So tag both of us. And I'm in the process of doing it right now, and that's what made me think of it, because I'm tagging Power Girls. But it's
Yeah, and if y'all want, we can take a photo and I'll tag Power Girls. Where's my phone? I'll take a quick photo too with my phone and I'll tag Power Girls because I'll shout you guys out
so
too.
on Insta, it's Power Girls in Real Estate, at Power Girls in Real Estate. And then Facebook, you guys are all in part of that. And you can tag it there as well. So
All
I
right, I'm
love
gonna take a quick photo and everyone can, all you beautiful ladies can smile. And then I'll take a quick screenshot with my computer too. All right, I'll share that out on my channels too and make it easy
I love it.
for
I
us
love
all to
it.
connect.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm super, super freaking excited. When I get pumped, I'm gonna like push you guys. And I have a feeling April's gonna push us too, and get us out of our own way. And this is gonna be good.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be good.
fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so thrilled that y'all are excited about the challenge because I'm like, I don't know, like I just put it together and I'm like, this will be fun for real, for this group and very specific to realtors. I literally, I do challenges all the time, but this was really built
This is
for
gonna be
you
a good one.
ladies.
This is
Yeah,
gonna be a good one. And
it's
we're
gonna be
not
fun.
gonna let you down. I think this
Yeah.
is gonna be really good.
I love it. Any questions, anything you want to ask or anything? I'm happy to stay on a few more minutes. So we want to make sure everyone gets any kind of questions or just even ahas that you want to share, anything like that.
Can I just say something real quick? So, like I said, I'm brand new. Like, I literally am about to have my very first listing. So, I
Way to
mean,
go, Mary.
seriously, like, I was a tattoo artist before, okay, and like retired 3 years ago.
There's a unique differentiator right there.
Yes, yes. But I also have a social media business and I teach people social media, and everything
Oh,
you said is absolutely amazing. And it does make a huge difference. And if you do something consistently for 30 days, you're going to be shocked at your viewers. So I want also, April, you're amazing. Also, pay attention to your viewers from day one and compare them to day 30 because you're going to be shocked at how different it is. So, April, you were so helpful and I really appreciate it. I can't wait to kind of combine everything once things
yeah.
start to come around, but this was absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I look forward to connecting with all of you on social so I can watch and follow along. You can tag me in every one of those stories. I'll be cheering for you, and if anything, I'll give you some engagement that'll help. So, yeah, do let's all band together and this is the thing that I think is amazing about women's groups like this, is that we go further together and I don't come from a place of any kind of competition. I only think about community. And I think that we can support each other in much stronger ways. And even if, like maybe there are two realtors that live in the same town on this call, it doesn't matter. Like you can celebrate one another. That could be your unique differentiator. It's just the way that you celebrate other realtors and the way that you celebrate and support their work. And so there's plenty of business to go around for everybody. And it'll be really, really fun to follow along and see what you guys do. And you'll get ideas from each other too. And if you're following the challenge, like I said, if y'all tag me and all that today, I'll go in and send everyone the challenge and I'll make sure Dawn and Mary get it as well. And then we can talk about some sort of accountability system or checking in or whatever. But then you'll even see, like, I have a hashtag that you can put on it. So I'll be following that hashtag. And if you all follow the hashtag, you'll see what the others are
Everybody
posting.
doing it.
So it's
That's
an easy
phenomenal.
way to get ideas. Yeah, it'll just be fun. So, but
Yay!
thank you, Mary. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Have
Appreciate
a
it so
Kill it, Mary.
much.
great day, everyone. Thanks for
Yes, have
coming.
a good one.
Thank you.